Ajurrumiyyah, lesson number 16. We continue with the mansubat, those nouns that are in the accusative case. Babu zarf الزمان wa zarf المكان. Hadha babu. This is the chapter of the container of time and the container of place. We could also translate this perhaps as adverbial accusative of time and place. Zarful zaman. This is also called as mef'ul fihi, and what it literally means is the time or the place in which the verb is done. Zarful zaman, and the zarf of zaman, the container of time, or the adverbial accusative of time. Huwa ismu zaman, it's the name of the time. Al-mensubu, that is in the accusative case. Bitakdiri fi, with the assumption of fi, with the assumption of in, the word in. Nahwu, haza nahwu, this is like al-yawma. So when you say, for example, rekibtu al-yawma, I rode today, what you mean is rekibtu fil yawmi, I rode in the day. And so al-yawm is the container of the action to which the verb refers to. So it contains, it's a container for that action in terms of time. Or for example, when you say sumtu ramadana, what you mean is that Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, is the container for the action of fasting. Nahwu al-yawma, today, wal-laylata, at night, wa ghadwatan. Ghadwatan means the part of the morning where after beginning with Fajr, before the rising of the sun. So as you know, when the sun is close to rising, you will first see its light in the horizon before you see the sun. So that's when Fajr comes in, when the light is horizontal at the horizon. So between that time until the sun rises, that time is called Ghadwa. Bukratan means early in the day, the first part of the day. Saharan, Saharan is this very Mubarak time, that is right before Fajr comes in. Gadan, Gadan means tomorrow. Atamatan, Atamatan is the first third of the night. So once the sun sets and you still have light in the sky, that's called Maghrib. But once the light of the sun disappears from the sky, then that's called night, Layl. And so Atama is the first third of the night. وَصَبَاحًا, in the morning. وَمَسَاءً, in the evening. وَأَبَدًا وَأَمَدًا, they both mean forever. وَحِينًا means sometimes. وَمَا أَشْبَهَ ذَلِكَ, whatever resembles that. Right? So in each one of them, you should be able to substitute, instead of using the accusative, you should be able to substitute fi and use a genitive. For example, you can say sumtu Ramadan, or you can say sumtu fi Ramadan. Right? So then you know that Ramadan is mef'ul fihi, the time in which the action of the verb is done. وَالظَّرْفُ الْمَكَانِ, the container of place. Again, this is the place in which the action to which the verb refers to is done. So we can say adverbial accusative of place. Huwa ismul mekan, it is the name of the place. Al-mansub, that is in the accusative. Bitakdiri fi, with the assumption of fi. Nahwu, like emame. Emame means in front. In Arabic, for example, you say emame, you can say fi emami, just as in English we say in front, right? Wa khalfe, behind. Wa quddame, قدام also means in front. ووراء, وراء means beyond. وفوق above. وتحت below. وعند, عند means in the presence of. ومع, مع means together with, and only refers to those things that are physically together with you. So for example, if you have your key at home, then you don't say المفتاح معي. You can say المفتاح عندي or في بيتي, but you cannot say معي. If you say المفتاح معي, that means it's physically present with you. وإزاء وحذاء, they both mean in line with. وتلقاء, across. وثم, ثم means there, not to be mixed with ثم. ثم means then, right? We saw that among the حروف العطف, the particles of conjunction. ثم is a مفعول فيه, that means there, and sometimes to distinguish it from ثم they'll write a ta marbuta afterwards. وهنا means here. وما أشبه ذلك, whatever resembles that. باب الحال, this is the bab of hal. Hal shows the circumstance of the file or the maf'ul bihi. So we can perhaps the doer or the direct object. So perhaps we can translate it as circumstantial accusative. It shows the circumstance of the file or the maf'ul. Al-halu, the hal, the circumstantial accusative. Huwa ismul mansub. It is the noun that is accusative. المفسر لمن بهم من الهيئات, that explains what is ambiguous from the circumstances. What does he mean by that? نحو قولك, like your statement. جاء زيد راكبا. So Zayd came, but you don't know how he came. Then you say راكبا, then you know the hay'ah, the circumstance in which he came. He came riding. So this is an example where rakiban is a hal from Zayd, right? So the amil is ja'a, the verb. Rakiban is hal, and then Zayd is the dhu hal. And so dhu hal means what? What the hal describes the circumstance of, right? وَرَكِبْتُ الْفَرَسَ مُصَرَّجًا, I rode the horse saddled. So here musarraj is a hal, circumstantial accusative, this time from the maf'ul bihi, which is al-faras. وَلَقِيتُ عَبْدَ اللَّهِ رَاكِبًا, I met Abdullah riding. So here this is an example where the hal could be either from the file or the maf'ul. So for example, laqitu Abdullahi rakiban could be describing I met Abdullah riding, could be describing the circumstance of I. So then it will be the sahibul hal will be to, the attached nominative pronoun, or it could be the hal of the maf'ul bihi Abdullah. So then we will know it is a hal of which one through the context. But sometimes it is possible that it works both ways, either as a hal for the file or the maf'ul bihi. وما أشبه ذلك, and whatever resembles that. ولا يكون الحال إلا نكرة, the hal, the circumstantial accusative is not going to be but indefinite, meaning it's only going to be indefinite. And now there are cases when it is not indefinite, but in those cases we interpret it as indefinite. So let me give you an example. When you say جاء زيد وحده, Zayd came alone. وحده is what? Is not nakira, it's not indefinite because it is in a genitive construct with the pronoun who. So therefore we saw before, right, that those nouns which are in genitive construct with a noun that is definite or a pronoun, a word that is definite is going to be also definite. So there wahdahu will not be indefinite. It is definite. Yet it is still the hal. How we will interpret it as an indefinite noun. So when you say ja zaydun wahdahu, we will interpret it as ja zaydun munfaridan. So Zayd came alone, right? So meaning when you say ja zaydun wahdahu, Zayd came by himself. What does that mean? It means Zayd came alone. So we can interpret it as a indefinite, although technically it is definite. ولا يكون إلا بعد تمام الكلام. It will not occur except after the completion of the sentence. Now, ولا يكون صاحبها إلا معرفة, and the ذو حال or the صاحب الحال, the noun whose circumstance the hal is describing, is not going to be except definite. Now, when he says after the completion of the kalam, I assume what he means is that that hal cannot be an indispensable component of kalam. Now, kalam will have indispensable components which are called arkan or rukun, right? Such as the mubtada and khabar. If you don't have the mubtada and the khabar, the subject or the predicate, you're not going to have a meaningful sentence, so it won't be kalam, right? So hal cannot be the indispensable component in the sentence. It won't be the mubtada or the khabar, or it won't be in a verb sentence, it won't be the fi'l and the fa'il, right? And so so if that's what he means, then that is correct, that the hal will never be that component of the sentence which makes the sentence complete, which makes the sentence a sentence. So it won't be the mubtada and the khabar, and it cannot be the fi'l or the fa'il. It will be fadla, it will be something extra. Okay? وَلَا يَكُونُ صَاحِبُهَا إِلَّا مَعْرِفَةً. Now, when he says that it's the sahib of the harzuhar cannot be except definite, that is the asl. Asl, as you know, means what? أولوية لا تبلغ حد الوجوب. It's a priority that doesn't reach the to the extent of obligation. And that is how the word asl used in the different ulum. Not that it's always going to be the case, but it's going to be the natural case, what happens in most cases, because this sahib of hal can actually be nekira, although that is rare. And then when it is nekira, it has a special rule relating to it. How so? When it is nekira, then the hal has to precede the zuhal. For example, you can say ja'eni rakiban rajulun, right? Ja'eni rakiban rajulun, which we will translate as a man came to me riding. But there in Arabic, you could not say ja'eni rajulun rakiban, okay? But so here you see that you can actually have a zuhal which is indefinite, but that is rare. And when it does happen, when it is a purely indefinite word, such as ja'ani rakiban rajulun, the word rajulun in that sentence, the hal has to precede it, right? So you have to say ja'ani rakiban rajulun, okay? But again, this is something rare, and for the beginning student, it's you should just be aware of it. But in majority of the cases, the zuhal, as the author has described, is going to be ma'rifah. We're moving on to at-tamyiz, babu at-tamyiz. Tamyiz is specification, and many times students find it difficult to differentiate the hal from the temiz, the most important distinction is that hal describes the circumstance of something, whereas temiz describes the being of something. The other significant difference between hal and temiz is that hal will consist of a mushtaq. Mushtaq means those forms that are derived from the masdar, such as اسم الفاعل, اسم المفعول, صفات المشبهة, صيغ المبالغة, اسم التفضيل, so on and so forth. So hal will always be mushtaq, or it will be interpreted as a mushtaq. So as in when you say جاء زيد راكبا, rakib is اسم الفاعل, so it is mushtaq. When it is not mushtaq, it will be interpreted as mushtaq. Again, we can consider the example of جاء زيد وحده. وحده is not mushtaq. However, we interpret as a mushtaq. We say munfaridan. Munfaridan is a ism al-fa'il from the infa'al above. So there we interpret wahdahu, which is not mushtaq, as a derived form. So we say munfaridan, we interpret as a ism al-fa'il. Now the tamyiz will be ismul jamid. What in an inanimate noun? What does that mean? Ismul jamid, al-ism al-jamid means what? A noun that is not mushtaq, whether it is a master or not, a noun that is not mushtaq is called ismun jamid. Okay, so temiz, as you can see in all of the examples that Sheikh Ibn Ajurrumiyyah rahimahullah gives in the section, will consist of a noun that is not mushtaq but rather jamid. It will either be a master or another inanimate form of the noun that is not mushtaq. التمييز specification هو الاسم المنصوب. It is the accusative noun المفسر that explains لمن بهم من الذوات, right? What is that explains what is ambiguous from the beings. So حال was لمن بهم من الهيئات. This is لمن بهم من الذوات, right? So حال describes the circumstance of something. Temiz specification describes the being of something. نحو قولك, for example, your statement تصبب زيد عرقا. Zaid dripped arakan in terms of sweat, right? So what does that mean? That means the sweat of Zaid dripped, right? So here arakan specifies the being that is actually dripping, because it is inconceivable that Zaid is dripping. So something of Zaid is dripping. What is dripping? The sweat of Zaid is dripping. وتفقأ بكر شحما. Bekir bursted in terms of fat, in regard to fat, as regards fat. So what that means is, if you in Arabic when you say تفقأ فلان شحما, that means that he is so fat that his skin begins to crack, and I think he's using such a dramatic sentence because he intended this, perhaps because he intended this for Arab children, and so it's sort of a memorable image. وَطَابَ مُحَمَّدٌ نَفْسًا. Muhammad was good in terms of his soul. So here, or we can say in regard to, as regards his soul. So طَابَ مُحَمَّدٌ نَفْسًا is Muhammad was good, but in which respect? Meaning طَابَ نَفْسُ Muhammad, right? The soul of Muhammad was good. وَاشْتَرَيْتُ 20 غُلَامًا. I purchased 20 male slaves. So when you say I purchased 20 male slaves, you purchased 20 are what? The beings that you purchased is ambiguous. Then there's the specification, which is ulam and male slaves, which specifies the being of what is ambiguous, and then it is no longer ambiguous. It is clear what you bought 20 of. وَمَلَكْتُ تِسْئِينَ نَعْجَةً, I owned 90 ewes. Na'ja is a ewe, which is a fully grown female sheep. So here again you say 90, and it's not clear what you mean by 90. What is it 90 of? And then you say najatan, then it becomes clear. وَزَيْدٌ أَكْرَمُ مِنْكَ أَبًا. Here the tamiz is aban, and this is muhawwal from the mubtada. What does that mean? That we can reformulate the sentence as Ebu Zeydin ekremu minke. That is to say, Ebu Zeydin ekremu minke ekremu min ebike, meaning the father of Zayd is more noble than you, meaning more noble than your father. So here we can see that this is what they mean when it is muhawwal from the mubtada, that we can reformulate the sentence where the tamiz is actually clarifies what the mubtada is. Zeydun ekremu minke eben, Ebu Zeydin ekremu min ebike. وَأَجْمَلُ مِنْكَ وَجْهًا, and Zayd is more beautiful than you, wajhan, in terms of his face, as regards his face. So in these two examples, there's the elative that is used as a comparative here, and so Zayd is more noble than you, more beautiful than you, but you don't know in which respect. Then once he says eban and wajhan, then it becomes clear. Ejmelu minke wajhan, meaning Zayd's wajhu Zaydin ejmelu min wajhik, right? Zayd's face is more beautiful than your face. وَلَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا نَكِرَةً, it cannot be but indefinite, meaning it has to be indefinite. وَلَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا بَعْدَ تَمَامِ الْكَلَامِ, and it will not occur except after the completion of the kalam. And just as in hal, the circumstantial accusative, in the tamiz in specification, tamiz cannot be a rukun of the sentence. It cannot be your fi'l or fa'il or mubtada and khabar, the doer or the and the verb, or the subject and the predicate. It has to be fadla, it has to be extra, and that's what he means when he says it is after tamam al-kalam, that it cannot be an indispensable component of the sentence. It is an extra word that clarifies the being of something that is ambiguous within the sentence. Grammarians classify tamiz in terms of what is being clarified into two groups. There is the tamiz of a mufrad, where a simple noun is clarified, and we saw the example of that in the text when Ibn Ajurrumiyyah rahimahullah said, وَمَلَكْتُ تِسْئِينَ نَعْجَةً وَاشْتَرَيْتُ إِشْرِينَ غُلَامًا. Right? So there, tamiz was clarifying a simple noun, ishrin and tis'in, 20 and 90. We learned what was purchased, what the 20 of was purchased, and that was Ghulam. Examples of that from the Quran al-Karim are Inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaba from Surah Yusuf. Indeed, I saw 11 what? 11 planets. So there, planets clarify what is meant by 11. Or إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا. Indeed, the count of the months, the number of the months, in Allah, according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is 12. 12 what? 12 months. And these two are examples of Temyiz al-Mufrad, or also known as Temyiz al-Dhat. Or what is clarified could be a sentence, a jumla, and this is called Temyiz al-Nisbah, the specification of the relationship, and that is of two types. Either it is muhawwal and ghayr muhawwal. And when it is muhawwal, what they mean by that is, as we discussed already in one example, that the same sentence can be reiterated or reformulated in a changed form. So this muhawwal is of three types. It could be muhawwal from the file, and that is the example تفقى زيد شحما. That is the example where the temyiz is muhawwal from the file, because we said that تفقى زيد شحما meant what? شحم زيد تفقى. Or it could be muhawwal from the maf'ul. The example of that from the Quran al-Karim is وَفَجَّرْنَا الْأَرْضَ عُيُونًا. We made the earth gush forth in terms of what? عُيُونًا, in terms of springs. So here we could reformulate the sentence as وَفَجَّرْنَا الْأَرْضَ عُيُونًا as what? وَفَجَّرْنَا عُيُونَ الْأَرْضِ. We made gush forth the springs of the earth. And the third type of the muhawwal is muhawwal from mubtada, and we saw the examples of that in the text. أكرم منك أبا وأجمل منك وجها, and we said we could reformulate that as أبو زيد أكرم من أبيك, or وجه زيد أجمل من وجهك. The face of Zayd is more beautiful than your face. The example of that from the Quran al-Karim, where the temyiz is muhawwal from the mubtada, is استعيذ بالله أنا أكثر منك مالا. What does that mean? I am more than you in regard to wealth. What does that mean? It means مالي أكثر من مالك. My wealth is greater than your wealth. And the second type of temyiz al-nisbah, which is also known as temyiz al-jumla, is one is not muhawwal. امتلأ الإناء ماءً. The container was full as regards water, in terms of water. So we could not reformulate this as muhawwal either from the file or the maf'ul or the mubtada, from the doer, from the direct object, or from the subject. The only one that would be relevant would be the file. But if we say imtala'a ma'ul ina'i, that doesn't make sense, because that would mean the water of the container was full, but the water is not full, the container is full. So since we cannot reformulate this as one of the three types mentioned above, this is غير muhawwal, and we cannot reformulate the sentence in the manners we discussed. So to sum it up again, that the temyiz can either be a temyiz of that, which is also known as temyiz mufrad, as in استيزولا إني رأيت 11 كوكبا, or it could be temyiz of nisbah, which is also known as temyiz al-jumla. And the temyiz al-jumla is either muhawwal or غير muhawwal. If it is muhawwal, it is either muhawwal from a fa'il, as in تفقى زيد شحما, meaning تفقى شحم زيد, or it is muhawwal from a maf'ul, as in the example استعيذ بالله وفجرنا الأرض عيونا, meaning وفجرنا عيون الأرض. or it could be muhavval from the mubtada, as in stays billah wa ana aktharu minke malan, or it could be gayri muhavval, and that was the example of imtala al-ina'u ma'an. This is the end of lesson number 16. Subhanak Allah'ın bihamdik neşhedü en la ilahe illa ent nestağfiruke ve netûbü ileyk. Subhan rabbike rabbil izzeti amma yasifûne ve selamun alel murseline velhamdülillahi rabbil alemin.